Hello and welcome to a new edition of True Audio Files. Today I am going to talk about my pickups that I got when I took my first business trip since COVID lockdown. I went to Orlando for a trade show and went to 4 stores. Went to Rock and Roll Heaven, went to Uncle Tony's Donut Shop, went to Retro Records and Park Avenue CDs. All of which have their own charm about them, if you will, or advantage to them. Rock and Roll Heaven and Uncle Tony's are both good for getting, really good condition, semi-rare pressings, if you will, but at a cost. They're going to be definitely more expensive. Even the basic stuff that you would buy from those places are going to be kind of pricey, but they're generally going to be in really good condition, like especially Rock and Roll Heaven. It's very rare that you find anything less than a VG plus, and I would say a lot of it's near mint, if not near mint minus maybe, but just in immaculate condition. So Uncle Tony's is sort of, and their specialty tends to be rock and pop, and that kind of stuff. They do have a decent selection of jazz and blues though, but their specialty, their zone is really like rock music, essentially rock, soul, R&B, pop, that kind of stuff. Uncle Tony's is definitely more slanted for jazz, and also funk and soul as well. That's kind of their wheelhouse, especially jazz. So similar situation. They had some pretty rare stuff there, but pretty pricey. Park Avenue CD actually is really awesome. I would say they really specialize more in new product. They definitely have some used stuff, and they had some decent used stuff, but I would say a vast majority of, it's definitely a vast majority of it's new, and they have a really good selection of new stuff. So then Retro Records is primarily used. They're kind of what I would go for as your traditional used record store. They're going to have just a bunch of everything, and conditions are kind of sort of all over the place. I mean, I don't think they have anything less than, say, VG minus, but, they don't have as much near mint or VG plus stuff as the other stores I mentioned. So specifically Rock and Roll Heaven and Uncle Tony's Donut Shop. But anyway, enough of that talk. Let's just kind of get right into it. So I'm going to make this somewhat of a short video because I got a lot of stuff to do. I was gone for a little over a week, so more than I traditionally take for typical business trips. So let's get started. I got a bunch to go over. First up are my jazz titles, and I got them from all the different stores. Actually, the Retro Records place was amazing. They had just gotten a collection in from someone, and I just was able to score a bunch of stuff from that. This one isn't from that, but this is Lee Morgan, Search for the New Land. This was sealed, and it's a 87 US printing that's a DMM mastered. So excited to get that. I don't know if any of these are originals, but a lot of them are early pressings, like 70s, maybe early 80s. Typically, like that one was an 87. I think that might be my newest jazz reissue. So got this one, Freddy Hubbard, Going Up, Up, Up. And this one was in really good condition. Got that one from Uncle Tony's, actually. I think the rest of these came from, rest of the jazz stuff came from Retro Records. So we got Judgment by Andrew Hill. Had very few Charles Mingus albums there, but at any of them. But 3 or 4 Shades of Blues by Charles Mingus. We got Wayne Shorter, Night Dreamer. Pretty excited. Some of these, and this might be one of them, had Van Gelder in the Dead Wax, which usually if you can get a jazz album with a Van Gelder stamping on it, it's going to be quite a bit of money because they're usually considered some of the better sounding jazz, just as a little tip for you who are relatively new to jazz. Next up, I've been told that these are hard to come by, and it's introducing Wayne Shorter. This is a reissue, but, still a relatively old one. Like I said, I think this is probably from like the 70s. There's no barcode on it, which is usually a pretty good indicator it's a relatively old pressing. Next up, Horace Silver and Serenade to a Soul Sister. next up, I'm excited about this one, as I am all of them, obviously, but Art Blakey's Jazz Messengers with Thelonious Monk, which should be interesting. This one's a relatively old pressing. Sonny Rollins moving out with Thelonious Monk as well, which is very cool, and Kenny Dorham. So excited about having both of those guys on this record and checking that out. I've heard good things about that one. All right, so the rest of these, if I could talk right, are basically a rock, or there's maybe one blues one in here, but got a trio of old Daryl Hall and basically Hall & Oates albums. Found out this one was a collection. I didn't realize it was kind of a collection, but then these two are kind of early pressings of those records, and I didn't have them. I have more of their 80s stuff. Those are 70s. A Sammy Hagar album, which is really good. I'm kind of trying to remember. There's a big song on this, but without my glasses, I can't see which one it is. But this is one that I got because the version I have right now is when I first got it, when it first came out, when I was probably like 8 or 9 years old, and it looks like I took a rock to it. So I got basically a near mint copy of that now. And it's a first pressing, which is cool as well. Next up is B.B. King in London, which is a pretty cool collection, and it's got basically Ringo Starr and Peter Green and a few other rock people that are contributing on this record, and pretty excited to hear that. I think it's probably kind of like those Muddy Waters and Howlin' Wolf in London sessions, something similar to that. Got myself a super clean copy of Steve Miller Band's Fly Like an Eagle. All the other versions I've had were kind of beat up and didn't sound good, so hopefully this is a very early copy, and I'm hoping that it's going to sound really good too. So this one I'm kind of excited about. Montrose, which I don't know if you know who that is, but for those of you who don't, Sammy Hagar was the lead singer at this point. I think that's Sammy actually, but got a Japanese pressing of it. It's pretty stoked for this. This has Rock Candy on it, which was probably the most popular song from that album. So pretty excited about that. Oh, one more jazz album too, which somehow snuck in on the bottom. But it's Don Cherry, Where is Brooklyn? And this has Pharoah Sanders on it as well. So pretty excited to listen to that, as well as all the other ones I got. But pretty excited overall for my haul. You know, no holy grails or anything like that, but got a lot of records in great condition and stuff that I don't already own. So in most cases, and so pretty excited about that. Would love to hear your input. What do you think that how do you think I did? And would love to hear your feedback on some of these that I haven't heard before, which most of the jazz stuff I actually haven't listened to before, those particular albums anyways. So love to hear your take. Next week will be another exciting week for a new shootout for those of you who are watching this in order. But anyways, if you have any questions about the titles on either side of me, these are the new ones that got sent to me in the mail actually this week while I was on vacation, including this one, which I will be reviewing next week. So I just haven't had time to do it this week because I literally just got home at about 11 o'clock last night. And doing this video in the morning. So that's everything I've got for today. Thank you very much, and you have a great one.